Are you tuned into another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast? I'm your brother, Old Guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored. And sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, SamAnt, Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building for another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. We got a special guest in the building. My man, Deante Hitchcock is in the building. Deante, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Can't complain, man. The sun up in the sky, and I ain't dead, so I'm cool.
Ain't that the damn truth, man? How's it? You in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously Georgia's the topic of a lot of conversation right now. We've seen Ahmaud Arbery, that a terrible video obviously is circulating right now. The motherfuckers are in custody, looking for the driver. How's the temperature out there in Georgia, and how did you feel about the situation?
Really, it's kind of hard to tell temperature-wise as far as like actual interactions, because most of the time we're in the crib, so we ain't really seen too many people out in person. Like, I'm sure you could see from like the timelines, Instagram, the Twitters, and even TikTok on some folk, like people are talking about it and discussing it. Of course, we hot, but I don't know. A lot of this shit is crazy to be at this point, but I feel like we've seen it so much in our own personal lives and in the media again and again, like people just dying on camera, even from like shit from like Nipsey death, Trayvon, to all these people. Like, we see it all the time, and it becomes we get desensitized to it. Like, the shit, it pisses us off only to a certain extent, because it's like, if everything that happened pissed us off, we'd be mad all the time. We literally be walking around angry all the time, and that shit get exhausting. So I don't know. We trying to find a way to balance that shit.
Like you said, you were still locked down, but we live in Jersey right now, South Jersey, where it's really locked down. You hear out Georgia, everything's starting to open up. Now, how's that going?
Yeah. I'm about to say it's open, but I'm about to say if you got a brain, you probably still in the crib. For the most part, like, I'm trying to let this shit ride out. Like, give it 2 or 3 weeks until I go back outside, actually, because when he opened it up, everything like opened back up, and everybody went outside. So yeah, I still been ducked off for the most part. I can't do it.
That's smart. Now, how you doing as far as like business wise and everything? Obviously, everybody's grounded right now, but how you taking that? Just taking the time to relax, chill. How's that going?
Everything is straight for the most part, for real. Like, I'm over here, me and my girl, my dog, we chilling. Business wise, like, everything's still flowing. We got an album to put out next week. Everything's still been working. I feel like at this point in time, we'd probably be in New York or something like that, or Jersey or wherever, trying to do like promo runs and stuff like that. But this is pretty much the wild, wild west right now. Ain't no real rules to it, and everybody's really trying to figure out what to do next, just like everybody else. So I'm glad I could be here right now, for real.
This is the new promo run, getting on the
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? May 13th, you got your album Better dropping.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people have been really looking forward to this album. You've been one of them best kept secrets in hip hop for a very long time, man. Run us through the album, run us through the layout, the work you put behind it, and the some of the meanings behind what we're going to expect in the Better the album.
And the album is the second installment of a series I got called Good, Better, Best. We put Good out, I think, 2016? And Better was supposed to come a lot earlier than it did, but we released a lot of other projects. So much for Good Luck. Thank you for your patience. Just a sample too, just to keep everything going, because I got signed. I think I got signed in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. It was like the day before my birthday. It was either March 9th, 2016 or March 9th, 2017. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, we did a lot of this project after we got home from tour. We went on tour with JID last year, and that was like in May. So at least like 60% of this project we finished right after we came from off the road. Because me and bro, we used to have talks all the time just about, both of us are kind of like at the forefront of the lyrical type of side from Atlanta. A lot of folks will say that. And a lot of times when you get lyrical artists, like when they do shows, it's more so a spectacle than a call and response type feel, because you're just watching them rap the whole time. It's like, oh shit, this nigga really can rap. But me and him talked about really reevaluating ourselves and like reevaluating our style to like fit the shows more, to where we make songs and like people respect you for the song structure versus just being able to rap your ass off. So I'm about to say that's the approach for a lot of the songs on here. It's real show oriented. Granted, that feels kind of messed up now because of the corona shit, but it is what it is. It's still good music, and I'm still going to enjoy it. It's a real reflective piece. You know what I'm saying? Signifying where I'm at in my life right now.
Sweet. Let's go back, man, if you may, man, and take people back to when you actually, were influenced to start rapping, if you may.
Shit, that shit was a minute ago. I'm 27 now. My uncle put me on when I was like 12. I was either 11 or 12. And he used to rap back in the day. Like, he had his own group and everything, but as time goes on, he focused on kind of like going into the business side he wanted to manage. So he took one of my partners and me and made a group kind of on like a crisscross type wave. We were younger at the time. I was 12. I think my boy was like maybe 14 or 13, one of the two. So he took us and we were a group, and he used to write my raps, all of that. Like, one day I stepped to him and I was like, nah, Unc, I got some shit. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. I wrote my own stuff and I ain't looked back since. Been going ever since.
Sweet. Now it says in your bio that you dropped out of Georgia Southern University,
Yes,
junior, to pursue music full time. What led to that decision?
Shit, just being down there in the middle of nowhere, dog. Like, at the time being like, are y'all familiar with like Edgewood in Atlanta?
Nah.
Okay, that was where artists like OG Maco, Jid, Earth Gang, Black, Fat Man Key, a lot of them were bubbling at the time. I think it's like 2013, and I was still in school. And like, so at the time, I'm still trying to do music down there in Southern, and hey, what's up? But yeah, there's nothing around me. Like, there's no clubs, there's no outlets to really get the music heard. There's just a college. So I mean, I wanted to get back home, and I really wanted to get back home and pursue music. And it got to the point where I just realized that Southern wasn't the place I could do it. And I thought about transferring to state, but I just said ultimately I gave it up just to ultimately focus on the music full time. And that shit worked out. So shit, can't complain.
How did parents react to that decision? A lot of people's parents, invested in them to go to college. How do you feel about that?
They was pissed. Pissed. My grandma almost killed me, dog. Like, everybody. My mom, she still be talking about it to this day sometimes. But I mean, ultimately, she's happy it's working out the way I said it would work out, or the way I planned it to work out. Man, at the time, that was ready to put me out. I had to go to Minnesota. Like, when I got home with, I think it was summer of 2014. And within, I think, a month's time, I was on a flight to Minnesota to go work and build snowmobiles. Because, like, one of my partners went up there. He was working, it's a contract company called Strong. And they were basically taking over a company called Polaris at the time. I think they were on strike and shit. So he sent me like how much they were making weekly. And he was like, yeah, we need some extra workers because a lot of the other folk going back to school right now. And I was on a flight next week, gone. I was up there for like 5 months. I had to get some money so I can come back and be able to like pay bills to stay at the crib because my mom was heated. So yeah, it worked out.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad it did, man. It usually does with people that got talent like you know what I'm saying, and put work and things like that. So happy to hear that. I got a question over here. I labeled it bars versus clout. Now, our young protege, our publicist, 21 years old, he brings us music on the daily. And a lot of we sit back and we smoke and we go, yo, all this shit sound the same, my nigga. All this shit sounds the same. And he'll bring some diamonds in the rough, and obviously he's throwing you out there, and we've heard of you. I heard you on the Dreamville project, among other things, man. I've always appreciated your work. Like, bars oriented, though. How hard is it to stay true and authentic to who you are, stay true to the bars in today's age in hip hop where it's taken over more so on the clout? You got to do wild shit on the Instagram. You got to do this, you got to do that. And the music kind of suffers because of that. How much, though, do you put an emphasis on remaining authentic to who you are? And do you feel like it affects you when it comes to numbers and streams and things like that?
Oh, there's big emphasis on that. Like, staying true, like, authenticity is really the only thing that's really going to last in all of this shit. Because you get acts like, no disrespect to anybody who's come and gone, but you've seen the ones who have come and gone. It's kind of like replications of other people's styles and shit like that. So, I like to say the only thing that really ends up lasting is stuff that people can really feel and really can touch. Like, but don't get me wrong, people come in all the time and make their bread. Rapping might not really be their real passion. Music might not be their real passion, but they come in and make their bread, do their thing. And coming from the areas we come from, you can't really knock that shit. So it is a struggle to kind of see those acts pop faster than what we do. We're seeing the longevity of the people who do things similar to like a me or Earth Gang or Jid or those guys in that same type of lane. Like, we see the Kendricks, we see the Coles, we see the Jay-Z's, the Wale's, the Drakes, all those guys. And they've been here. I was listening to Drake, 10 years ago? I was listening to Jay-Z, Andre 3000, all them niggas like 20 years ago. And people still talk about them today. So I'm about to say, to see the longevity in it and to come in really wanting that type of longevity, that helps. Yeah, I mean, but it is a fucking sight to see, dog. Like, cause man, even yesterday, I don't even want to talk about bro like that, but bro popped back up for his first time. He got 2 million on his live, just strictly off controversy, dog. Like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, have you seen anybody that you came in the game with that you're like, damn, they real, they doing their thing, they really got talent, and kind of got caught up in that nonsense and kind of went a different way? You just like, damn, you ain't have to do that, bro.
I mean, you see it, but most folks, like, if you're doing your shit and you got some good people around you, they find their way back. Like, I feel like everybody gonna go through that moment where you kind of like venture off to the other side, because it's there. It's always gonna be there. The allure is always gonna be there. And this is the entertainment industry, and folks want to be entertained. So, like, that's something I had to really, like, understand. And it took me a minute to understand. So I was like, bro, I could rap with anybody. And I felt like I could rap with Cole years ago. I feel like I could rap with Wayne years ago. But it was like, all right, people want to be entertained. It's not just about the talent anymore. Shit, it really might be 30% talent and 70% entertainment. And really, that might even be off. So yeah, folks want to be entertained at the end of the day. So it's either adapt or die.
So going back to 6ix9ine, that whole situation, how do you feel being an artist in the same, community as him, and him coming out and getting that much success his first time with his music and an interview? How you feel about that?
I feel like don't never really surprise me no more. I'm about to say, this shit really entertainment. Folks like controversy. Folks like saying shit. Like, it's all fun and games until somebody die. And I would hate to see Brett die, because I don't wish death on nobody. But I would say you play with those type of energies in the world, and that's the shit that come back to you. So I hope the best for bro. It's a weird thing to watch, because it's never been, you know what I'm saying, that type of shit ain't never been really celebrated in our culture. But I feel like our culture, being that it's like the #1 genre in the world at this point, it's only so long that we could hold it for ourselves. Like, now there's so many other entities that want a piece of it because it's so big, and like the message gets misconstrued. So it's easy to promote some shit like that now, because there's so many other people watching, so many other people with their hands on the pot. So it's weird.
Pav, how do you feel? You alluded to it a few minutes ago, being compared to the likes of people like J. Cole, Lil Wayne, and T.I. How does that make you feel?
That shit fire. I say, like, it's like, man, if you was a hooper, and you coming up, and niggas like, yeah, bro, you remind me of goddamn Jordan, or you remind me of Kobe. It's like, those are folks you looked up to, and those are folks that you kind of like, not to say you like copied their style, but they inspired you to do something. So, I mean, bits and pieces of your inspiration gonna come across in what you do, like Kobe and MJ. So for somebody to notice that and actually like affirm that comparison is pretty cool. You know what I mean? They can get it too. They gotta go too.
Yeah.
Indeed. I want to talk about drugs and music in general. Now, drugs and music is all throughout it, but only in hip hop does it seem like it's popularized and publicized the way that it is.
Yeah.
Talk about drug abuse in music and why it's so publicized and popularized in hip hop.
I mean, that kind of goes back to the same shit we were talking about with the 6ix9ine thing. Somebody has their hands in the pot. Like, a lot of folks that say claim conspiracy theory and shit like that about the music that gets pushed, but bro, at the end of the day, that's some of the most entertaining shit, and folks emulate those lifestyles because it's pushed so much. And I don't want to be the agenda guy, but like, when you see some of the folks pulling the strings, you can understand why. It's a self-destructive culture in some senses. Like, and if you don't pay attention, if you don't really have the foundation of other people around you to like guide you in the right path, you'll be on the same shit just because you heard your favorite rapper talking about popping 10 perks in a day, and they probably ain't even do that shit. As the niggas I know that's rapping about that shit don't do that shit. So some of them really be on it, and respect to them for that authenticity, but nah, nigga, I need my liver to work when I'm fit. I need all my mind there. So, but it's easy to get influenced, like, because if MJ, like I said, going back to the sports shit, if you wanted to be like Michael Jordan and MJ just start wilding out doing all this shit, you probably would too. Because nigga, that's your idol. You know what I mean? And folks look up, a lot of folks look up to these rappers, dog. A lot of folks look up to me. So I don't really want to be on the sense of like feeling like I got to be a role model, but at the same time, being in the public eye like that comes with a certain responsibility. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
The over-sexualization of hip-hop. You see like a Meg Thee Stallion or Cardi B, shaking their ass. And we love it, as men and all that. But the message that it sends to like the young children, how do you feel about that in hip-hop? Like, it seems like they're not, in my opinion, celebrated for their lyrics. They're more celebrated for their bodies.
I mean, now that shit goes back to the machine. I was just thinking about that the other day too. Me and my homegirl was having to talk about it because it was like women have really been kept back for a long time, like marginalized. Even when black men got the right to vote, black women still couldn't vote. Even when regular men had the right to vote, women were still like at the crib doing. It was always a certain gap in between levels or ranks or classes and whatever you want to call it between men and women in whatever race. It's always been like that shit. In certain parts of the world, some women still don't have any type of rights. So now seeing that women are really just turning up and do whatever the fuck they want to, and in some ways that shit kind of fire me. But then when I be thinking about my little sister, I be like, damn, if that's all she see, damn, is that what she gonna be on? Because I don't want her to be on that type of way. But I'm really on the fence with that because I like it to an extent, and then it really don't even matter how much I like it because this is their liberation. This is what they want to do. But I be worried about how it's going to rub off on certain younger women who aren't, you know what I'm saying, necessarily at the level where they're going through life and they're more impressionable. So I don't know.
Oh, my fault.
You said what?
Oh, my fault. I said, how many of those women that do that do you think genuinely want to do it, or do you think they just feel the pressure, kind of like we were talking about with, all right, the clout overgoing and overdoing it because you want the fame or the drugs because of that? Do you think women almost feel the same pressure in hip hop to do that because that's the only way they'll notice?
I mean, I think it's definitely pressure there, especially it's like, man, you come up from not having anything. So all of a sudden the world is watching you and it seems like they're watching you for this one reason, or this is why everybody's here. Of course you're going to exploit the fuck out of that shit because you don't want to go back to where you just came from. And like, by the same token, we have other acts in music that do, that walk the other line. We have the Rhapsodies, we have the Maribas, like they exist. The balance is there. It's just like one thing is being pushed a lot more because one thing in the eye of the public is a lot more entertaining than the other. And I don't know how to shift the I guess the value of entertainment, and that's the thing, because like it all exists. It's not like it's just so much of one thing that it overshadows the other. It's just we like one thing a lot more than we like the other, and one gets more of an emotion out of us than the other, so we feed into it more. Shit, I ain't gonna cap you down. Like I wouldn't rather see somebody shake some ass versus playing the guitar.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
It is what it is. Like
especially right now, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Talk about Atlanta's work ethic, man. We talk about on this show a lot, even when we just talking amongst each other. We give praise to Atlanta's work ethic in hip hop, man. Y'all don't even have a genre of music in hip hop. Y'all just take over everything. And it seems like every time we turn around and talk to one of you guys, y'all in the studio. Talk about the competition aspect in the work ethic with Atlanta.
Man, there's so many of us out here, dog. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, you see folks in your same fucking profession every day, and it's pretty much like, oh shit, you doing that? That shit sound good. I want my shit to sound better. So you got so many people next to you that are doing the same thing. It's like you get to kind of like compare and see where you lacking at and see what styles you need to put in. So it's like, okay, I need to take that to get better. I need to take that to get better. It's like, nigga, I used to stay in an apartment complex, and if it was like 100 kids, 70 of us wanted to rap. So it's like the competition is always there. Like a lot of folks say, iron sharper iron or steel sharper shit, steel, whatever the case is, but it's always iron next to you. It's always steel next to you. Somebody to compare, somebody to spar with, or battle, or however you want to get down play it, somebody to compare songs with. So I think we just have a healthy sense of competition here because everybody's doing the same thing.
If we take us back, man, let's talk about Dreamville and that whole experience. Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Take us through that whole experience, how it was like to be on that project.
That shit was cool as fuck, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That's like the highlight of my music career thus far. Saw that shit. We got platinum plaques from that. Niggas got Grammy nod. I got a little certificate in the mail right now, bro. I'm finna put that shit on my wall as soon as it get here.
Yeah.
So at first, I didn't even get invited. Like, I remember the first day when everybody was posting their golden tickets and shit, and I was pissed. Like, I was like, niggas in Atlanta. I done met everybody at this point. Like, I know G, Herb Gang, and all the niggas from like Atlanta. I done met Cole twice. I met Boss. I think the only person I hadn't met was like Luke and maybe Cox, because me and Ari was on tour together, all this shit. So I'm starting to see it. I'm like, these niggas right here in my backyard. Ain't nobody hit me up, said nothing. Oh, say less. Nigga, I gotta snap this shit. So I talked to my manager and everything. We had a conversation about capacity and really just like breaking limits. So it was like, bro, all right, if folks still sleeping on it right now, this year gotta be the one where everything changes. Like as soon as me and him got off the phone, I went and wrote like 10 verses right after that. And then literally the next morning, I got a text with my little golden ticket and shit. I was like, wow, ain't that some shit. So yeah, that whole experience, bro, it was like imagine the dream team, like the NBA dream team, Magic, Jordan, all them niggas, like just sitting in the room going at it, just running scrimmages for 10 days straight. That's how that shit felt, bro. It was amazing. Everybody was in there trying to get on every song. Like Down Bad, I don't know if you know that. Down Bad originally had like 10 verses on it. And it made more. Been, like they literally had to cut songs down from like 10 minutes plus. Because if you were in the room when the song was being made, 9 times out of 10 you put a verse on it. And it was just whoever got the best verse gonna stay on that motherfucker. Whoever don't make it, cut. That's how it was. So yeah, that shit was really a crazy experience.
Do y'all still have some of the original cuts of the 10 minutes, like everybody's verses, everybody's bars on it that y'all can go back and go, yeah, this was crazy.
Eve got all that shit. Eve has everything. They had like these orange hard drives and shit floating around. They wasn't sending nothing to nobody off rip. Nothing. So everything that I have is from from post-production and everything. So if I made something, they sent it back. If I didn't, I don't have that version at all. And the same probably rang true for everybody else. Except
yeah. My bad. Ghostwriting. Have you been getting into any ghostwriting that we need to know about?
You trying to fuck up the bag.
Damn.
No, I got my hands everywhere. Everywhere I can put them, they there. So I'm out there.
How prevalent is it though? Like your favorite artist? Because I know some people that are under the impression that most of the artists have ghostwriters.
Yeah.
How prevalent is it? Would you say if you want to put a percentage on it, like all right, 30-40% have ghostwriters?
That I've seen so far, I wouldn't even say that high because like I haven't met everybody, and the people that I have met so far, I think take it very seriously. Like from the Wale's, the Coles, the T.I.s, and all them guys, they usually write their stuff from what I've seen whenever I was in there with them. So I haven't really come across too many personally that I've met. Like most of the ghostwriting things that I do have come from email placements, stuff like that. So it hasn't been a case where somebody has just called me, not a rapper at least. No rapper has called me and just been like, hey, come to the studio, write this for me. I've also called from some singers to do some stuff, but no rappers yet that I know.
Singers to tell you to write raps?
Huh?
Singers to have you write their raps?
Yeah, I've written a couple what the fuck am I saying? Wrote wrong. I've written a couple singer verses.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
That's dope. You talked about Earth Gang a lot. Talk about them. We got who we got on Monday? We got CeeLo Green in here on Monday. Goody Mob legend. We're super excited about that, man.
That's fine. Yeah.
Talk about Earth Gang. Talk about Goody Mob and their influence on your music.
Man, I'm about to say the whole Dungeon fam, I think, really opened doors for the South that a lot of people couldn't really do at the time. It's like, think about before they came out, people didn't even respect us like that at all. And it took groups like Outkast, Goody Mob, Kilo Ali, all them guys to come out and really like show that the South really had something. I mean, not necessarily that we had something to say like Andre said, but we had something there. There's something in the water here that's different from New York, which was popping at the time, and LA that was popping at the time. And I think we've done a good job of just holding that shit down, dog. Like, there's a new Flav in Atlanta almost every 2 years. There's something new coming out of here. I know the trap sound has been real dominant from here for a long time, but we got everything. Especially now, there's so many people that move here from other places. Like, it's kind of hard to find people who are born and raised here because there's so many people that want to move here. But that shit ain't do nothing but amplify the flag that we already had. There's so much shit going on here, dog. You'll go from the richest fucking neighborhood to the Bluff. And the Bluff is like one of the poorest places in Atlanta, period. And them shits are like literally right down the street from each other. So the perspective, you can go and find people with different perspectives that are in the same areas. So it's really a melting pot, dog. Like, I know folks say New York is the big melting pot, but I ain't never lived in New York, so I can't attest to that. but I know Atlanta for sure has so many different people and so many different types of people in such condensed areas that we see everything. So nigga, that perspective range is crazy. So we could talk about so much shit. For the flavors there, and the same range true for Outkast and Goody Mob, and that shit might be even more true for us today.
Word up.
Any collaborations that you haven't done that you want to do, that you want to share with people?
Shit, I'm trying to make a song with Thug.
Okay.
Thug is in my top 5. Top 5. And I know y'all probably looking at me crazy as hell too.
Drop them top 5.
My top 5 altogether. Wayne is my favorite rapper. 3 Stacks, Jay-Z, Pop, Thug.
Who was number 4? Pop.
Pop. Yeah.
Oh, not bad. Thug?
Except Thug.
Man, look, I haven't heard anybody able to make melodies and cadences like Thug ever. Ever, bro. Like, I sat in with a studio session with that nigga once, and I watched him hum through the entire beat, like the entire duration of the beat, and then he went and put the words on it after. But he just did whatever came to him naturally, and like it was so many different cadences and goddamn, bruh, it was amazing to watch. And he's top 5.
All right, you got Thug in your top 5. You also got Wayne in your top 5. I wanted to ask you a question a little earlier when we were talking about Wayne, or we talking about drug abuse. We talking about like this responsibility. Now we know Wayne was obviously somebody that was doing famous drug abuse. He had an actual problem. He wasn't out there faking it. He was actually doing it, still is. But he also influenced a lot of the youth to get into drugs, unfortunately. What do you think about that double-edged sword? As far as Wayne being a hero, but obviously the message sometimes wasn't always the greatest as far as influencing the youth.
I think Jay-Z got that line about being a hero or living long enough to see yourself become the villain. And that shit rhymes so fucking true, dog. Cause it's like, all right, take Wayne. Wayne was what? I think like 13, 14 when he first came and all this shit.
Yeah.
He still had the Michael Jackson effect, like in the essence of not really having a childhood. So to see him go and to be as big as he was, bro, there had to be a lot of shit that he was, I don't want to say running from, but just didn't want to deal with. You get to the point where drug abuse becomes a thing where you use it to escape from the world. And that's real. And I can see if anybody would need an escape from the world for all the shit that we've seen, like even in the later years, through the Birdman shit that he was going through the tour bus getting shot up, like you a target. He was the biggest artist in the world for I know at least 4 or 5 years straight. Dominant. It's like everybody and their mama knows your name. You can't go to the mall. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't even go out and just drive without folks goddamn bombarding you for what pictures or whatever the case, want rap for you, whatever it is. That shit get tiring, dog. I know he was looking for an escape. So I'm about to say, I understand it. You always wish that, you know what I'm saying, the people that you look up to could have did better in the situation, but shit, even knowing all the things that I know about his situation, I know I don't know 100% of what was going on. So that shit may have been stressful than even the world knows right now. So you never know what folks dealing with. Shit, it just is what it is. Even watching them, y'all been watching The Last Dance shit?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Seeing what he had to go through, dog, it's like, you go up to your hotel room, you come down when it's time for the game, you probably leave like 2-3 hours early. You got a crowd of people in the lobby. Step outside, you got a crowd of people at the bus. Get on the bus, you got a crowd of people at the arena. Go in the arena, it's a crowd of people at the locker room. Like, it's just different. You don't really get no type of personal space, no personal time to yourself. You don't get no time to really reflect. If you ain't got no time to reflect on shit, you just kind of on autopilot. You know, autopilot, you're going to do whatever you need to do to sustain. And I think that's what Wayne did.
Right. And if you look at Wayne, he was even influenced by people like probably DJ Screw and all those other guys, promoting it. How do you feel about the Houston rap scene, though? Them pretty much taking off with all the talent that they got coming out, man. They almost trying to rival Atlanta, maybe in the future. Crazy. Yeah.
They're going real crazy. Like, even, y'all ever been on South by Southwest?
You have, right here.
Oh, yeah. I've been out there often. When I go to South by Southwest, 2017, I was out there.
It's crazy. Like,
hell yeah.
People be realizing Texas is big enough to really do their own thing. And them niggas don't have to fuck with nobody across the world. It's big enough to the point where, like, if all the artists in Texas wanted to do their own shit, make a label, they be straight. Because there's so much talent in Texas. There's so many places. Like, not only even Houston, Dallas, goddamn Fort Worth, all them places. Like, folks came from seeing, I've been to South by Southwest, I think 4 years. and seeing how efficient they are and how they support their artists,
Mm-hmm.
nuts. Like I think Atlanta is getting to that point, but Houston, from the very moment I stepped into Houston, Austin, and all that shit, I saw it. It was like all of them know everybody here. Every Texas artist knows every Texas artist. Period. I'm about to say, I think they have a real good support system. They of course got Beyonce, so they winning just off top of that. Shit. Texas really might got that. Texas and Memphis, I think, really might have some crazy runs in the upcoming years.
Yeah, them some big ass states too. Texas and Tennessee is fucking huge.
Yeah,
there's some big ass states. I wanted to ask you. This is probably my last question for you, fam. Appreciate having you on. I heard you say throughout your life you had a lot going throughout your life to make you become a rapper. Can you give us one of those stories throughout your life that happened to make you a rapper, the rapper you are today?
I think everybody has shit that they always want to talk about. Niggas just had crazy ass lives, dog. Even from the regular shit that people can relate to, from like parents divorcing, folks not being there, people dying and shit like that. Even just smaller stuff, dog. Like, I think being a rapper for me, and what I've always appreciated about some of my favorite rappers, is just the ability to relate to them. Like, I love Future, you know what I mean? But I love Future even more when he talking that type of shit. Like Throwaway might be one of my favorite Future songs, because it's really some shit that niggas actually going through. Like, I'm not the lean sipping nigga. I wasn't kicking nobody door down for the most part. Like, none of that shit. So I can't relate to that. It sounds good and it turns me up to a sense, but the shit that sticks with me is the shit that I can actually take home. And it's like, okay, nigga, I can relate to that. I've been through that, and I can use this to process whatever the fuck I'm going through right now. And I think for me, I've had a lot of situations that I feel like people can relate to. So the ability to actually put that shit into words has kept me here.
I forgot one more question, man. Then we'll let you get out of here. And like the brother said, we appreciate your time. How you feel about rappers being killed in their own city, in particular Nipsey Hussle? It seems like they try to go back and do for their city, but it's like the most hate and envy is there. How you feel about that whole thing?
I said, niggas killed Jesus, dog. Like, it is what it is. I don't, of course, nigga, nobody wants to see nobody die,
right,
ever. You know what I mean? But take it, all right, if me and you start at the same point, like me and you from the same place, you done seen me grow up from the same box, we went to the same middle schools, same elementary schools, high schools, all that shit. And then all of a sudden, my life is drastically different from yours. I have way more success than you. I'm doing way better. People treat me way better. My money is way longer. And you still in the same position that you were. Like, I've passed you exponentially. It's like, nigga, jealousy is a real thing. And it's like, sometimes it's hard to control. Because, like, even regular people who don't act on the shit, we all have jealous emotions. Everybody goes through that shit. Everybody wants something when they see somebody else have it type shit. Like, that's a natural human trait. And some people can't control that shit. It's a real thing. Envy is a real thing, especially when you down and you really fucked up, bro. Like, and you alone, nigga, devil. Idle mind is the devil's playground. If you ain't got nothing but time to stew and sit and think about hateful shit, that shit'll take control of you, dog. And a lot of people in places where we come from have nothing but that kind of time. And it's sad to say, but folks really got down. Once you get that shit, I'm not saying don't come back. I'm not saying don't give back, but that ain't really where you need to live if it's that type of area. That's not where you need to stay and lay your head, because that shit stews over and that shit will get you killed. And we've seen it time and time again. I don't think that shit gonna stop.
Facts. Man, this is a powerful interview. Appreciate having you on. Deante Hitchcock is in the album Better, dropping May 13th. He has the singles I Got Money Now featuring J.I.D. and How the Fuck featuring Black out now. Yeah. Family, before we get up out of here, man, give the people your handles where they can find you and your last remarks before we get up out of here for y'all.
Alrighty, man. My name is Deante Hitchcock. Y'all can find me at Deante VH. That's DEANTEVH. That's Instagram, Twitter, Black People Meet. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. I'm on everything. My music, you can find my music on Spotify, YouTube, all that. Last remarks: waffles are better than pancakes. Tacos, greatest food ever. Don't fuck no midgets. I would, but you shouldn't. And we out there, bitch.
Hey, man, appreciate you. Anytime you're in Atlantic City area, if you find yourself in South Jersey, hit us up, man. We got a studio out here. Word. We love to come and definitely fellowship with you, fam.
Already, man. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you.
Peace. Deante Hitchcock, man, in the building today. Another powerful interview in the book, SamAnt.
I'm glad we got a young, you know what I mean, up and coming boss, bars in the building, rapper that we could sit back and fellowship with the next 5-10 years. Go, yo, this dude's on top. We got to talk with him, man. Great interview. Great build, man. Dope interview.
Good one, Vic. Appreciate this one, bro.
Indeed.
Definitely real intelligent brother, man. Hit that 5-star rating if you enjoyed the interview today. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast right now. That way you'll get all future episodes of this podcast, man. We got another interview back to back, so we're gonna get to it, man, and do what we do. We'll holler at you guys a little bit later. That's your brother SamAnt, Viral Hip Hop News. I'm your boy O God. Hip Hop News Uncensored. Over and out. Peace.